Eddie Benjamin is one of Justin Bieber's closest confidants. Hailey Bieber has been jealous of Eddie and Justin's relationship for a long time.
Alright, you guys, gather round, because my friends and I were just looking at this, and we have to talk about what's happening. This story is a Hollywood scandal, a pop culture mystery, and a celebrity love triangle all rolled into one. We're talking about Justin Bieber, his wife Hailey, and the mysterious new figure who seems to have become the third person in the relationship, Eddie Benjamin. It's a story that has captivated the internet, sparked endless speculation, and has Hailey Bieber fans more than a little worried. There's a lot to unpack, from a supposed secret boyfriend to an alleged handler and a shocking scene at Coachella. This is the deep dive you've all been asking for, so let's get into it. So, you guys have been blowing up my comments and DMs asking me to do this video, so let's not waste any time. We're doing a deep dive into the man who's been at the center of all this drama, Eddie Benjamin. Now, the internet has thrown around some wild rumors, like calling him Justin's secret boyfriend, but we're going to talk about who this guy really is, where he came from, and why his relationship with Justin has become the new thing everyone's talking about.
Especially at this last Coachella where Justin couldn't get his hands off of Eddie. More recently, Eddie helped put together Justin's entire album.
On the surface, he's just one of Justin's close friends, or as some have called them, his hipster goons, who are always hanging out in the background. But there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. So let's start with the basics. Who is Eddie Benjamin? Well, it turns out that Eddie is a musician who's actually from all the way down under, in Sydney, Australia. He grew up in a creative household, and it seems like his path to becoming an artist was pretty much destined from a young age. His mother was a professional dancer, and his father was a touring drummer. Being around that kind of artistic energy from the beginning definitely shaped him. By the time he was just 14 years old, he was already out performing as a freelancer at local Sydney clubs, which, I mean, at 14, that's pretty impressive. He was also part of a band called the Hayes Trio, which he formed with his classmates back in his teenage years, and his music abilities are no joke. He's a very talented multi-instrumentalist, a great guitarist and singer, and he's been releasing music on his own for a while. Let's take a look at a little clip of his early work. Okay, so you get the point, right? He's got that raw, passionate musician vibe. That kind of talent that makes you just want to sit down with a guitar and get lost in the music. I'm not going to try to do it myself, but you know what I'm talking about when someone is just so into what they're playing that they just lose themselves in the sound. Now, a lot of people might not know his music, and there's a good reason for that. He's primarily worked behind the scenes. He's worked with some major artists too, people like Meghan Trainor, Earth, Wind and Fire, and Shawn Mendes. But his life really changed in 2022 when he was one of the opening acts for Justin Bieber's Justice Tour. And that, you guys, is where this whole story really begins. But before we get into the details of his relationship with Justin, we have to talk about another bizarre relationship that put him on the map.
But a lot of people are wondering who Eddie is and where did he come from? And why does he have this creepy relationship with Sia?
We have to talk about Sia. Yes, that Sia. The singer-songwriter who is known for her larger-than-life wigs and her famously private life. It turns out that Eddie and Sia have a very close, and to some, a very strange bond. If you guys haven't seen my video about Sia and Maddie Ziegler, they have an even closer bond that many people have called borderline inappropriate. Sia, who is Maddie Ziegler's godmother, basically assumed the role of a surrogate mother to her. And it turns out that Eddie was actually dating Maddie at one point, which is how he got so close to Sia. And a lot of people, including some of my friends and I, found this whole situation to be a little weird. A lot of people online were questioning the nature of this relationship. Eddie, in an interview, said that Sia has been like a mother to him in LA. He said, "My girlfriend is Maddie Ziegler. That family has taken me in. We've become really good friends. It's nice to have another Australian around. She has a lot of wisdom. It's been beautiful. Couldn't ask for a more supportive family." Sia, on her end, referred to him as her Australian son. She said, "You didn't have your family in town when we met, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to be your mom here." And I got extremely protective as I am over Maddie. She went on to say that she would even vet his deals, telling him, "If anyone gives you a deal, I will research it myself and nobody's going to take advantage of you." She referred to him as her little pixie son who is bright, awesome, humble, and a real dingus. Now, a lot of people on Reddit and other social media platforms had a lot to say about this. A lot of people were not supportive of this, calling it weird that Sia, who is twice their age, was housing all of these young artists. One person on Reddit wrote, "So Maddie and Eddie were already dating? Then Maddie introduced Sia to her boyfriend."
Been requesting this video, so today we're doing a deep dive into Justin Bieber's secret boyfriend. I'm just kidding. His name is Eddie Benjamin, and he's really close to Justin, one of his hipster goons always hanging out in the background. There have been rumors that these two have had something romantic going on. They claim nothing has, but today I want to talk about who Eddie is, like where did he come from?
Then Sia moved Maddie's boyfriend into her house. It's a very strange situation when you lay it out like that. Another commenter pointed out, Sia's closing line, "I love you, I'm always here for you, I know you're your mom's baby, but I'm going to be asking permission if I could take on some kind of maternal role in your life," has absolutely no boundaries. What a nut job. It's a bizarre and confusing dynamic, to say the least. Another person wrote, "She's such an effing creep and I'm really over it." They added, "Her using the fact that she's protective as an excuse to behave extremely inappropriately towards children and teens is absurd." This has created a lot of concern, especially since Sia has also adopted 3 teenage boys who had just aged out of foster care. They are barely legal teenage boys living on her property that are not related to her. It has created a lot of unsettling vibes, with one person saying it's giving Super Arch Kelly vibes. We'll leave that right there. So, this is a very complicated and strange situation. But it's important context for who Eddie Benjamin is and the types of relationships he gets into. And it seems like once Eddie and Maddie broke up, Justin Bieber entered the picture. So, they met in 2022 when Eddie went to go and open up on Justin's tour. We would see them post on social media and show a lot of love for each other. Justin would post about him and call him the next generation of music. We would see pictures of them together, and you could just tell that there was a strong bond between them. But the relationship became even more cemented with Justin's recent album Swag. As we saw this year, Eddie was credited as a co-writer on 11 of its 21 songs. And the delivery of this album was supposedly very rushed and chaotic.
He has an interesting story because at one point he was roommates with Sia, who's like twice his age. But before we get there, let me give you guys some context on where Eddie came from. Now it turns out that Eddie is actually from down under, and it looks like both of his parents were creative. His mother is a dancer, his father was a touring drummer.
Fans and streaming services were taken aback by the release, which was called late and chaotic by some critics. Apple Music and Spotify were not given enough time to post the appropriate credits, which caused a brief misunderstanding over who had worked on this album. So maybe all of Eddie's credits didn't appear right away, but these two were showing a lot of love for each other on social media. Eddie wrote, "Made an album with my bestie. My love for this is so deep. So grateful to lean on you as a friend." He continued, "The fact that we get to make music together is the cherry on top. You teach me so much and are a true friend. This experience has been my favorite musical experience I've had, making some soulmates along the way. The swag is beyond real. Always been swag." But there were some people who were criticizing how much Eddie worked on this album. One person wrote, "So basically, he wrote all of it and Justin was in the room sleeping just for the sake of credits." Another person questioned the 11 tracks, saying, "Basically, he's Justin Bieber's ghostwriter." Now, there's no denying that Eddie is very passionate about Justin. Maybe he is a hippie handler, as some people have said, but he is incredibly passionate about this man. He did an interview with Zach Sang and spoke a little bit about their relationship, saying that Justin is exceptionally gifted and has just such a big heart. He went on to say, "His ears, dude, are out of this world. Like the things he hears and how his ears, bro, he makes me smile because his ears are some of the most special I have ever witnessed since I was little." And this is where we have to talk about something really interesting about Eddie. He actually has a neurological condition called synesthesia. It's a condition where stimulation of one of the senses triggers experiences from another. For example, a person might see colors when they hear sounds or taste words. It's not a disease or a disorder, but it could be associated with enhanced memory and cognitive abilities. So, if you guys know any more about this, Comment below.
So he grew up in a creative household, which ultimately bred him into this musician. At the age of 14, he started performing as a freelancer at local Sydney clubs. He was also part of a band called Hayes Trio, which he formed with his classmates during his teenage years. Let's take a look at a little clip of his music abilities.
This might be why Eddie is so passionate about Justin's ears, and it might explain their creative connection. It's almost like he looks at Justin like a god. No, because these two love each other so much, some people have questioned, does Justin like Eddie more than he even likes his own wife Hailey? And this is where the drama really kicks in. Some people online have questioned the nature of their relationship, with rumors swirling about a possible romantic connection. And of course, these rumors become even bigger when we see how much love Justin shows Eddie on social media. But he continues to, at times, make Hailey look bad, or make her look like she's on the outside looking in. But people can't help but to talk about this bromance. There have been blind items that talk about the chemistry between these two, and joke about their tendency to avoid being photographed entering locations together, because Justin and Eddie are always together. But when we see Justin getting paparazzi'd, Eddie is not there, because they don't want to be perceived as being always attached at the hip. One person wrote on Reddit that at a VIP Coachella party hosted by Charlie XCX, German singer Bill Kaulitz observed Justin Bieber getting very physically affectionate with his close friend Eddie. While Hailey Bieber looked visibly uncomfortable, Bill spoke on his podcast and described Justin as hardcore cuddling and pawing at Eddie as Hailey sat nearby, appearing upset. He called the moment awkward and said it felt like Justin and Eddie needed to get a room. And that eyewitness visibly seeing them acting like a couple and Hailey acting upset. I feel like that's so telling. If I were to see that, I feel like you'd already understand the dynamic of this love triangle. This comment reads that Justin will cuddle with anyone other than his own wife. Another person adds that this story isn't helping those rumors. However, people close to the friend, I mean, not the couple, but to the friends, say that they are not romantic. They just have this creative synergy, this bond that no one can understand. It seems like that's such a Hollywood thing, like, oh, you guys just won't understand, it's like this energy synergy thing. Fans point to their close body language at events, the studio sessions that reportedly turned into all-night hangouts, and the fact that Eddie was such a big part of Justin's album, writing many of the songs and giving vocals as well. There were some people who questioned how rushed this album was. It does seem like it was rushed, and supposedly they started recording this during a mountain retreat that Justin went to just a month and a half ago. So they really did this very quickly. It kind of sounds like it. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I don't think Eddie's going anywhere anytime soon. And if he does, we're going to see a crazy blow up on Instagram, because anytime Justin has a fallout with a friend, we hear about it. So, what deep dive do you want me to do next? Let me know in the comments below. Peace out, Seshers!